Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. See if it's all over there. If I didn't know where it was. I want to call the meeting to order at 7:37-ish. Yep. Maybe we have,
President Callis,
yes, I'm here.
Secretary Seth,
President
McConnell. Treasurer Hannon.
Yep.
Trustee Simpson via Zoom.
Here.
I need a motion for the approval of the minutes, our public hearing, our regular meeting, and our executive session. Do we want to do that all at one time? Would you
I'll
like
make
to
a
step up?
motion, we approve the public hearing of 4/19/22 and the regular meeting at 4/19/22 and the executive session. 4/19/22.
I will second that. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. We have some public comment. Do we have any public?
Hi, everybody, Luke Allen. I am the chair of the Fire Referendum Committee, and I just wanted to let everybody know that the Fire Referendum Committee has been activating and working to begin communicating to the public about the referendum that the trustees are seeking to add an additional ambulance crew. So we've updated our website. We have signs that will be being put out this week, and a mailer will be going into mailboxes this week. So if you have any questions, you can find us on Facebook at Support the Winfield Fire Department, or you can find us on our website.
Thank you, Luke.
Great, thank you, Luke. And as always, thanks for the work you're doing. I just want to say while we're still in public comments that we've rearranged this meeting hall at the hopes that you can hear us all better and see us all, handsome and beautiful people that we are, but most importantly that you can hear us. So if there's any problems with the sound, please let us know. It's very important that we all participate. Thank you. Reports. Treasurer report.
Treasurer's report was in your packet. No additional comments on it. It is presented for your approval.
I make a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
Second.
Wait, we have a roll call vote on that, please?
President Callis.
Yes.
Secretary Seth.
Yep.
Treasurer Hannon.
Yep.
Trustee Simpson.
That would be us, probably drinking
Yeah.
beer. Chief?
Thank you, Mr. President. For this month, the Special Operations Training for the Alliance was trench rescue training held at Carroll Stream Station 28. They actually dug the working trench. We had some weather-related issues, so compliments to Carroll Stream and compliments to the crew that led that training for all of us, all 6-member agencies. That dealt with a lot of rain with a trench, but we managed to get all of the training in. It was focused on first in company operations. So trench rescue operations are not an uncommon event that happen in the fire service and in our communities. And they are typically long and involved incidents. And the goal of this training and the goal of what we do with our folks is to try and expedite the ability to rescue someone. So those first in companies, before the technicians arrive to do what they have to do inside the trench itself, the first in companies arrive, the engine crews, the truck companies, the squad company, and start doing all of the preparatory work and begin the initial operation so that when the technicians arrive on scene, they can immediately go into the trench, and it saves time, and saving time saves lives. Is a lot of the training we do is all focused on that. The quicker we can speed up the time frame, the better chance we have for a successful outcome for our communities.
I will say, having a rainy day is actually the best time to do that.
It was
Type of when you think about it, the trench is the most suspect and tough to work with when it's raining. So,
It is, the sidewalls become quite
yeah.
dangerous. And there was some talk about converting it straight into dive drill.
Yeah,
So So we had that going for us, we can multitask. The fire training for this month is today through Thursday at an acquired structure in Bloomingdale. Bloomingdale is hosting, and the topic is commercial fires. And why these differ from when we respond to a fire at a single family house and that kind of thing is the size of the building, the floor plans of these buildings are bigger. So what we'll do, rather than how we operate in a single family or even a multi-family house in commercial structures, there's a lot of things where we'll team up crews together. So an engine company and a truck company will go to the first floor, a truck company and an engine company will go to the second floor, and we'll assign additional chief officers who get dispatched to go in there with them to monitor them and track them for accountability purposes and for resource management. So those companies go in there, and it has to deal with things like searching off of ropes, which is something we don't normally do in a single family house fire, hose line advancement, bigger hose lines deeper into a building. So there's a lot of intricacies that are involved in that kind of training, which is why we do it annually. And it's really helpful for, again, our abilities once we get on the scene of one of these, which happen in all of our communities, to be able to do everything that we do faster, safer, better. And that's the focus of really the Alliance and why it's such a tremendous asset to ours and other communities that are member agencies. Recent incidents to note, on 422 on Waterbury Court, we had an appliance fire. Engine medic responded along with the assistance of Tower 38 and Battalion 38 from Wheaton. On April 25th, Gold Shift crews, Engine 31 responded to a fire in West Chicago on Elizabeth. And a special point in that is Matt Smith, one of our senior members, one of our senior firefighters, was an acting officer that day. So again, our firefighters and our senior members really stepping up. Crew did a great job. He did a great job as the officer in charge. On May 5th, a black shift. Crews responded to Harrison Avenue for an appliance fire. Tender 31, medic 31, deputy 31, and we were assisted by Tower 28 from Carroll Stream and Battalion 38 from Wheaton. And on May 10th, a black shift, 25 North Winfield Road. If the deputy chief would like to speak on that one at all. I actually, to start, I had just left town for a symposium sponsored by the Illinois Fire Chiefs in East Peoria, Illinois. On vacation time, my own accommodations for what it's worth. But I had just left town and
barely got onto the highway, and we got thrown for a structured fire over at the hospital. We come out, and what do we see from the top of the hospital, the power plant? Big billowing black smoke. So turned out these guys could probably tell you more about what it actually was on the roof. They went up there with the first ones on the scene. Turned out it was a bunch of materials, plastic fins that are filters into all those cooling units. They'd stacked them up there. If you remember, we had a lot of wind, blew them over. They were testing the generator the same day, hit against the exhaust and lit those up. So they did actually light them up pretty good. Plastic burns, good and black, but they had a crew up there pretty quick. Put a lot of extinguishers on it, and they had a garden hose that could hook to one of the chillers. So they hooked that up. Pretty much had it out by the time we got there. We had to move a bunch of material off the roof. What did you find when you got up there? What was it? It was a bunch of burnt plastic filters, a big stack of them. There was. So that really was the after that, it wasn't too bad. So Chief didn't miss that much. We were helped out with a bunch of, it just, everything moves fast here, and that really, it was pretty neat. We had a lot of crews there, all going to work really quick. But
yeah, West Chicago, Carroll Stream, Wheaton, and Warrenville all assisted. 11 fire apparatus from other agencies, and a total of 27 personnel.
wow, very quickly. But yeah,
All for a couple of filters, huh?
all for
Reported structure.
Couple
At a
hundred.
hospital.
So yeah, well, thankfully that's all it was. Yes, thank you.
And then, did you want to mention the other one?
And then the last thing, we got a letter on, I believe it was Monday, a thank you letter. It was kind of interesting. This again, it was black shift here. And we got the letter. It's a great letter. It was somebody who had a full arrest on, let's see what day I got it right here. It was had a full on Super Bowl. Sunday. The guys arrived, he was actually in full arrest. They went ahead and took over CPR from the family that was there. Noticed his rhythm, and then they started treating him. They ended up getting, what struck me about it, number one, he did live, and he's been, had a long recovery. He's been in Marion Joy, but he finally got to go home on, let's see, this is the best part, April 7th. So he's alive and well with his family and getting to spend time. These guys, we don't get a lot of recognition as Winfield. We don't get the call of the month a lot and stuff. And so I dove into the report, and it was seriously textbook. It was right on scene, found full arrest, performed all the treatments. He was still in full arrest. All of a sudden, they noticed conversion through the end tidal CO2, a subtle change, but they noticed it, checked, sure enough, had him back. Changed directions, applied new treatments to stabilize him, got him to the hospital. And they did all of this, moving him onto the cot, into the ambulance in 20 minutes. And they arrived at the hospital in that amount of time. And those are the things that they take a complicated and make it so simple day to day. And I just got to give them all a lot of credit. They do an awesome job. And that's probably why you don't always get credit. They're that smooth and and that's what we want. That's really what we want. So thank you guys.
And the particular crew members?
It was, I listed on the email and
Was, I believe,
it was the whole crew.
yeah, okay, so it was.
Every one of these guys here were on that call. So like I said, they didn't have anybody on vacation. Super Bowl Sunday? That's good, but yeah,
Well done,
it was
guys.
every one of these guys here, so we can thank them, everyone, and get an opportunity when the meeting's over. But yeah, it's awesome.
Thank you.
Cool stuff.
Service anniversaries, Brian Burke, 8 years with the district on May 5th. Chuck Fester, also 8 years with the district on May 5th.
Rough hiring day.
Those,
So other points is ESO Solutions, that comprehensive program that we've been working in. Work is still in progress. Things are going well. It'll take care of fire reporting. It'll take care of scheduling. It's very comprehensive, and the guys are working really hard to get it dialed in so we can go with it for full implementation. Flow MSP, you'll notice nothing in the packet. There were some technical difficulties on their end, and there's a slight delay, but we'll be resuming that in earnest within the next few weeks.
So that's actually in progress on the back end. We sent them all of our addresses. What now they're doing is they're geocaching, taking the addresses, geoing all of them. And with that, they'll populate into our maps. And so now we've already done all the hydrants, all the geo-hydrant caching of the hydrants. Now they just got to go on the back end, match up a GPS signal with the address that is associated with it, and they're in the middle of that right now. So that's the next step. Once that happens, all of our buildings will, along with all of our hydrants, will go in, and then it comes to the hard work of actually going out to every building and putting in the Knox boxes, where the fire connections are, all that kind of stuff. And that's what we'll all be working on next once that goes in. But it's all coming along very well.
Quite a bit of work, but it's quite a big deal on at the conclusion of both for our people.
Conclusion of it, not.
And similarly, worth pointing out is, again, our partner agencies all have Flow MSP, and we adopted it as well. So now, going back to like the CDH fire, when we're responding to each other's communities, you'll be able to pull that stuff on the MDTs and all of the. So if we're going to a place in Wheaton or West Chicago that we're not necessarily familiar with, it's not our town, we can still pull it up and get a lot of pre-planned information while we're going there. Again, to expedite our ability to affect a positive outcome. Lexipol, same applies. That there's some delays, but we'll get back to it shortly. With a SharePoint system. Roof repairs. So roof repairs, the company we ultimately went with, Anthony Roofing, has been very responsive, very good. We had a couple of issues that were outside of the scope of work. We're working with them. They're being incredibly good with us, getting all all that stuff done, but the roof is in profoundly better shape than it was, I can tell you that. Fleet update, first of all, I want to give special thanks again to Brian Berg and the service, we use Fire Service Inc. out of Naperville. They're very responsive to us. Brian Burke has done an awesome job of scheduling a lot of the maintenance stuff, primary, secondary maintenance, getting him in for regular primary maintenance stuff, oil changes, all that, filter changes, all that kind of stuff. So if you'll notice the big open spot in the middle bay, engine 31 is out at Fire Service right now. The good news is, with all the problems that we've had with that in recent months, that's not the reason it's gone. It's gone for actually for its primary service, the oil changes, filter changes, all that kind of stuff. So we've reached a level of stability with engine 31. With that in mind, we have to remember that that's a 12-year-old fire engine that runs a lot of calls, and we bought it as a demo. So according to the NFPA standards, the standard for a moderately busy urban department, which we are, the expected life expectancy in frontline service is 8 to 10 years, so it's already exceeded that. So it is a tired old fire engine, relatively speaking, but we've stabilized it where it hopefully will continue to hold up until we rattle the new one. The new ambulance, as is the case with many of our partner agencies, delays in construction due to all of the things that we're familiar with. But they do have a chassis for it. They are currently working on the construction of it. So it is in progress. It's just that we're delays due to all of the supply chain issues. With that in mind, keeping in mind that in our area, most of our partner agencies, the standard life expectancy of an ambulance is approximately 8 years. Medic 31 is 12 years old and Medic 32 is 17 years old. So the new one, same thing, they're quite tired. And when the new one shows up, it'll be well welcomed by the crews. Lastly, the grant updates. Again, we applied for the local American Rescue Plan, and that's still in progress. We were not awarded a grant from the Office of the State Fire Marshal, and the Safer grant we still haven't heard anything on. And that is all I have to report.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney?
Actually, I don't have anything to report tonight.
Wow.
Sorry.
We're not.
It's good. Not being sued, not suing anyone, but it's all good. Is there any old business? I don't see anything underneath it. Consent agenda of monthly run report. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
To that point, we are still up again year to
So
date
that-
over last year.
27?
Yep.
27, yep.
And we're still receiving more mutual aid than we get.
Yes, as of just before the meeting, we were up 61 calls year to date over last year.
Oh,
Although, our mutual aid's not that far off.
Not that
no, it's
far.
not bad.
Not this one.
We're trying, we're hustling.
They're starting to catch up.
Right. New business.
Wow, look what's going on.
We have a very short surplus list. It's not
Very short, but very big.
Right,
Yeah.
two big items. And they're in a state of flux, I see, because there's no check mark.
There's no action on them.
So I wanted to ask where you'd like to go with that. Here's the problem, neither of them are truly drivable. So to get them out of here, I wouldn't feel comfortable anybody picking them up and driving off. But every time we put a driver in it, another brake line breaks. And so we've replaced brake lines at least once this year, twice this year. And we fixed those, and the next time we drove it, another brake line. It's just brake lines. All the brake lines.
The entire
It's just-
undercarriage is rotted.
So here's the problem, we'll go ahead and sell it, and somebody drives off with it. I just don't know that that's our best decision. So
Here
we
is
can
it.
still sell it, it just have to
1997.
be sold as
As is.
undrivable. And then have them pick it up, not be able
And
to
is
drive
it,
it
it's
off.
the the underbody frame has got a frame rot?
It got
Is it
frame rust.
solid?
I don't think it's all the way through, but it's not in great shape, but it's not,
Needs
it's.
frame repair.
it
Probably the
needs-
same shape as my trucks.
Do you guys want me to send you a whole harmless, as is, we,
That would be very kind.
yeah, I'll send you the whole harmless we do before, because a lot of districts are in the same boat. They have
Right.
stuff, You want it, it's as is, you're taking it, and they go from there.
Do we
Okay.
do we do an auction? Do we do a?
So that would have to go to public auction, just
Okay.
like anything else.
All right.
If we want to sell it, we put it on the public auction. We go with gov deals as usual. That seems to be actually
Yeah,
works
$5
very
or-
well. It's a pretty simple process and it's pretty open and transparent. So I kind of like that one.
It's not a junkyard piece where we just scrap it.
Well, that's kind of what I'm asking.
That's for the
That's the
board to-
discussion we've had. We decided to go ahead.
Is it gonna cost us more in the tow than we would get back in the scrap?
Well, that's
They
why.
come and get it.
Yes. Yeah, one way or the other, I didn't want us to have to put any more money into
Right, yeah.
either of them.
And these are both
So
painful.
that's where the advantage of actually auctioning and selling it off would be, is somebody has to come get it and they have to handle that. Knowing that up front,
Versus scrapping it where,
we would possibly have to pay.
And it's got a plow with it.
The plow's going with it.
I'll
Yes,
tell you, you'll get $6,000 all day long.
possibly. Maybe, and if we do,
Because the pickup I got rid of wasn't a diesel. I got 4,500 for it.
Okay.
And it was in worse shape.
yeah, and the motor on this one was just rebuilt, what year?
Okay.
A couple of years ago.
14.
Okay, so,
All right.
so go ahead and, go ahead and.
yeah, I do,
you guys want-
if we have the ability with the whole harmless to
Yeah.
not have any liabilities there, then.
Yeah, we have it,
Yeah.
for most of the, like, the districts, when you do something to fire surplus, I give you the whole harmless, so whoever buys it, because different places, I've got districts that use gov deals. I've got districts that put them on eBay. I've got districts that just put them up for the employees to buy. So it runs the gamut of what they do.
Yeah.
But I'll send you the whole harmless in the morning.
Thank you. Okay, thanks. And then the 92 Pierce,
Same story.
Same story. That one has the U-bolts that hold the front axle together, are completely rusted off of that one. Again, not drivable whatsoever at this point in time.
Is there a museum we could sell it to?
And so going back,
and the tank is
And
rotten
the-
too, right?
yeah, going back when it was built in 1992, at that point, they built the water tank out of steel.
Yeah.
And it
Well-
rusted and corroded and
And then corroded everything with it.
And unrealized at the time
Things
was
rust
that
together.
it leaked onto the frame rails, which also got wiped out. So it's,
So that's really a,
Parts.
It's, yeah, somebody will probably scrap that out possibly. I
you
would
want to
think.
put that at auction, or you think, or?
I could do either one. I would recommend putting it up for auction. If we,
Okay.
that way, we're not paying to get rid of it.
Yeah,
Right.
if
That's
there's,
really-
if there's an ability to not, yeah,
Have that thing
I agree.
cost us any more money,
I agree.
I'll put it up, have somebody come and get
I
it.
mean, Victory still comes and gets
And
it.
especially with the whole harness.
Well, I mean, they
think that
really do.
helps a
I-
lot, Joe.
In my business, I have Victory come and take it away and they pay you cash.
And that if
You
we
can push
can't
it
get
or pull it or tow
anybody
it to go forward.
if we can't get somebody to take it.
I knew that guy.
Remember those commercials?
I knew that guy,
Still
Stu,
here in my head.
Stu.
All right, we'll do that.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and put both up.
All right, let's put them on auction. Make sure we have hold harmless on both of them and,
Do we need a motion?
I was
Yes,
just-
we
I
need
was-
a motion, yeah.
right,
With a roll call, because it's technically
Yes.
money.
technically
Yes.
money, right. Do I have a motion to put thank you, the 97 and the 92?
Mhm.
Any opposed?
It's roll call.
Yeah, please do it. I'm just trying to
President
find it.
Callis,
Yes.
Secretary Says.
Yep.
Treasurer Gannen.
Yep.
Trustee Simpson.
Yes,
You don't look sick.
am I freezing?
You don't look sick. Okay. All right. We need to pay the bills. I'm sorry, I lost my place.
I make a motion to pay the bills.
I will second the motion to pay the bills with the bill total being $90,068.50 for the month of
I
April.
had a,
Sorry, April 20th to mail.
had a question. I don't remember what it was. Yes.
I'll send it to you, 'cause I can't. That's fine.
question. Somebody type in a question. I had a question, I can't remember what it was. I don't know, it just seemed odd, but obviously not odd enough to circle whenever. it does this stuff. All right, roll call vote,
President Kellis,
yes?
Secretary Sus, Treasurer Gannon.
Yep.
Trustee Simpson.
Yes.
All right, are we going to, I want to give everyone a chance to talk of public comment again, if there's any public.
I had a question about the smart 911 system. Does it feed into the same data that you were talking about where the hydrants are being geolocached and that feeds into your computers in the trucks? Does the data that residents enter in smart 911, how does that also get to the other neighboring agencies?
So with the Smart 911 program, it was developed by a civilian after a tragedy. And that system essentially is one where you register with them and they will take in whatever information you provide. And then if you call 911 from wherever you are, all that stuff will auto load for those agencies like DUCOM, our dispatch agency, is a member of the Smart 911 program. So if you're out of state somewhere else, whatever, all of the information you give them, if you have a medical history that you want to disclose, if you have medications, a condition, whatever, information that will auto populate into the dispatch agency's thing, so they can do a lot of that kind of pre-work.
So it stays at the dispatch center, it doesn't.
Well, it's part of.
They might push some of that.
Smart
information out.
911, so on a dispatch center on the other side of the company, on the other side of the country, it's also registered with Smart 911. That information, wherever you are, will load.
It trans
Yes.
with
Yeah.
you to wherever you.
So predating Smart 911, in fact, we just did it for a resident today. You can come in and you can fill out some forms that we send to our local dispatch center, DUCOM, with whatever information you want to provide. But that's local, that's DUCOM information. So if you're on the other side of the county and you call 911 and Addison Consolidated Dispatch Center, ACDC, takes the call, they won't necessarily have that information. That information's at DUCOM. Now they share, that's probably a bad example, but if you're a little bit farther away, Northwest Central or Red Center or whoever, that information won't necessarily transfer. So that's the problem with the old way that we did it, and the existing way that we also can do it is it's local information, which is fine if you're a homeowner. And I would encourage people to reach out to us and allow us to help you get whatever information you want to provide, whether it's door codes, if you have a lockbox on your house, whatever information you want to have pre-installed at the dispatch center, we can do it through that system. And Smart 911 is just another one of those systems, but that's bigger than simply a local situation. But either one or both can be used, and I would encourage people to do it, because going back to what seems to be the theme of the night, everything's about saving time in our business. So all of that stuff saves time. So if we get more information while we're en route, that means we don't have to get it once we get there, and then everything saves time and helps for better outcomes for our people, for our citizens.
We have a public comment.
Can you read that or?
I think I can, if you can.
Would you
I
like?
got-
Everybody put the glasses on.
I don't think I can expand it.
I said, for everyone here this evening, in items to the coming referendum,
You want me to take it?
yeah, so it's a little closer for you.
This is
Yeah.
from Darren. For everyone here this evening, in terms of the coming referendum, I introduced myself to a few new neighbors and reminded them to update their voter registration and discuss the Winfield Fire Protection District referendum. They all said they were a yes. Also, scrolly. No, I lost my, oh, there. Also, my wife and I had Glen Ellen business owners here at our house to do some repair work at our home. In the process, we discovered that these folks live close by within the Winfield Fire Protection District and have voted no on previous referendums. After some lengthy discussion and questions, they have committed to voting yes this time around, making progress hopefully. And I'll just chime in. In response to that, Darren, thank you for the information, also
Right.
for advocating
Uh-huh.
on behalf of the district. I think
I
we all,
agree. Thank
Very nice.
yes.
Absolutely, happy to do it.
Keep up the good work.
That's the only public comment.
If I might, Mr. President,
Jump right in, chief.
thank you. Circling back to make sure I answered your question, that is not part of the flow MSP thing that we were talking about. That is an internal thing where we do pre-planning and area information for responding units. So those are two separate things. The flow MSP is to help us when we're responding to emergencies with respect to building information, setback distances, road distances. So in a lot of our areas where we don't have fire hydrants, we have to establish a place, what we refer to as a fill site. So we dump a big portable tank on the ground, fill it with water, suck the water out of there, put it through the fire engine, and put the fire on the house. Or put the water on the fire rather. So one of the things with that is these long distances from where we set up that dump site or that area where we fill the tank with water. How many feet is it to, because if the fire engine has 1,000 feet of hose on it, and
It's 3,000.
you put, so we can measure out those distances. So again, when companies are responding in, they know I have to start dropping hose here. I have
You
to
know how
stop
many
ending.
25 feet of hose you need.
I think I've seen that question on the test before.
I've seen that.
I've seen that video.
I've seen that
So-
video 5 or 6 times.
So there's a whole bunch of stuff like that the flow MSP answers. So again, it helps us in setting up our operation when we arrive on the scene. And the smart one is just for civilians who want to pre-populate 911 information so that it can be given to whatever agency is responding to them. So sorry, I didn't answer your
So-
help us.
Just hypothetically, would it be helpful for the department, you know my house well, and it's literally 425 feet off the road. Having that knowledge of the footage, is that helpful?
Yes, very, because again, it has everything to do with where we set up for an operation there. And that's all stuff that is going to,
So flow, what flow does for us is tell us how far away the closest hydrant to your house is and how we're
Oh,
gonna.
shit, there ain't no hydrant.
There's no-
and then distances.
When
So
his house catches on fire, all you need is calculate how many.
So from the front of your driveway to the next intersection, which I know where it's at, but to, how many feet is that? So that, how many engines is that gonna take to lay hose to get there? Because that would be our dump site. So, and then on and on and on.
And moreover, it's not just telling our guys that, but it's telling
Yeah.
everybody else,
Yeah.
because West Chicago's coming to your house.
Yeah, so the West
Warrenville's
Chicago,
coming to your house.
the West Chicago engine, that would be the next engine on the scene. They know
Yeah.
where to start and stop dropping hose
So as
to get
part
that
of
whole
what
thing
you do,
established.
do you plug in all the addresses?
No, one of the things is, it tells us where all the hydrants are. So it'll highlight your house, your address on the GPS, like a Google Maps. map. Highlights your house and then highlights all the hydrants that are close to you. And in certain neighborhoods, we pre-plan those, number one. Number two, then on commercial buildings, it'll tell us where the fire department connection is, the Knox box is. So it's designed to kind of give us that overview pre-plan of either distance to hydrants for neighborhoods in the grand scheme of things, or on a commercial building, finding all those heights of buildings, roof accesses, things like that. So
Going gas shut
And
off.
the whole
Gas shut-offs.
premise for my
not just
question is, do you want information from like neighbors in my neighborhood as far as the distance from the front of the house to the road? I mean, does that help you if their house?
It's
gets
so,
fire, or
there's
is
a
that too
certain
much
point,
information?
there you go. At a certain point, there could be a point where we get to where there's too much information, you couldn't even process it all. So it's not really set up to do residents per se, but it will give us, the big part is that water thing. Because that's a challenge sometimes, trying to find that next hydrant. It highlights it, it comes out bright on the thing.
Phil's got a
and
big
it-
pond though.
Huh? And that's not gonna help us.
No,
They'll suck that pond dry so fast.
So no, it'd probably be information overload at that point, if we did every single house that way.
Okay, that,
Yeah.
that was
Right.
premise of my point.
Thank you. It's a lot of information. Very important information. Are we agending into executive session, or are we going to
We are recessing.
recessing?
Are we- why don't- Is there a reason, do you guys want to go into closed session? I don't know.
Yeah, we've got a couple things we need to discuss.
Okay, so
Um,
we need a motion then for,
To
To move into closed
recess
session?
or to,
for what purposes of?
for personnel.
The appointment, employment, compensation,
Right,
benefits, of
uh-huh.
specific employees of the district. Okay,
And
And judging from the last meeting, we never adjourned into it. We had to recess into it.
Right.
Correct.
because.
So I will make a motion to recess into
Right.
executive session.
There it is.
Purpose of
That's what I wanted to- that's
For
what I
what
wanted
you
to
said.
ask. Right.
And I will second that
All right.
motion to recess into
Have that
executive
back,
session.
I remember.
Because I think we've been
Yeah,
doing, I think we may have been doing things wrong.
you guys didn't make a motion to go into closed session for last meeting?
No, we did like the last meeting. We're talking about
Perhaps the meetings prior when we didn't have proper, proper
advisement.
advisement.
There's a motion in a second for you, sir.
All in favor?
Aye.
Us, so moved.
Make the motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We're adjourned.
Randy, get well.
Feel better, Andy?